Hello, folks. It's time for wine and fairy tales. Now, I've been away because after the election, I had to wait for my book to repopulate itself because the names of all these people, they just change around because it is magic. It's fairy tales. The story that we're going to read today is called The Troublesome Visitors. Here we have a little faceplate for the troublesome visitors. Okay. There once was a cock named Donald J. Trump who lived with his daughter, a hen named Ivanka. One day they decided to go for a visit to see their old friend Rudy Giuliani. So they built a pretty carriage which had 4 red wheels and harnessed it to 4 mice. Donald J. Trump crowed, "Look at this carriage. It is the best ever seen in this county. And these mice are very well trained, and they are fine mice on both sides," as he pointed to the 2 mice on the right and the 2 mice on the left. He did happen to say that the mice on the right were much smarter than those on the left. They seated themselves in the carriage and drove away. Ivanka, the hen, drove because, despite what he said, Donald the cock had never learned to drive. They had not traveled far when they met a cat who said her name was Marjorie Taylor Greene. She mewed, "Where are you going? May I ride with you? I could tell you about George Soros and the liberals and how they funded all those fake school shootings. I could explain it all to you on the way." Ivanka the hen cried, "We are going to see Rudy Giuliani, and you can recognize him because his nose is very brown." "Take me with you," mewed Marjorie Taylor Greene. "But wait, let me get my hair extensions in first." "With all my heart I welcome you," replied Ivanka the hen. "But you must get up behind because if you sit in front, you could make me fall." Then there rolled up a millstone named Mitch McConnell. After him, an egg named Lindsey Graham, and after the South Carolina egg came a duck who was called Trey Gowdy. Next, they came upon a darning needle named Louis DeJoy, and finally there came along a pen called Susan Collins. Now, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Trey Gowdy, Louis DeJoy, and Susan Collins all climbed up in the red carriage beside Marjorie Taylor Greene, who began to fill them all in on the treacheries of the liberal people. And they drove away. When they arrived at Rudy Giuliani's home, he was not at home. So they went in, ate his food, drank his liquor, and decided to take a nap or 2. So Donald J. Trump and Ivanka flew to a perch. Marjorie Taylor Greene seated her kitty self in the fireplace, hoping that the ashes would conceal her and protect her from liberal deviants, and quietly chanted, "QAnon, QAnon." The egg, Lindsey Graham, rolled himself up in a towel. Louis DeJoy and Susan Collins stuck themselves in a chair cushion and the bed pillow, respectively. They made sure they rested with their points up, always alert to defend themselves against imagined adversaries. And as the keeper of the house, the millstone, Mitch McConnell, parked himself above the entrance door. Rudy Giuliani came home flustered from his interview on Fox News. He looked around for his servant, Christy Nome, but she was out fighting the coronavirus by shooting birds, so he went into the kitchen to light the fire. Well, every one of those who rode in the Donald J. Trump's carriage were triggered. The cat, Marjorie Taylor Greene, threw a quantity of ashes into Rudy Giuliani's face, mistaking him for George Soros. Giuliani ran quickly to the stream to wash his face, and the duck, Trey Gowdy, who was swimming about, splashed so much water over him that he was obliged to waddle into the house to search for his towel. But just as he took up his towel, out rolled that devilish Lindsey Graham, rolled over his face, broke, and filling his eyes with egg, stuck them together like glue. After this, Rudy Giuliani just needed to rest. But as he seated himself in his armchair, Louis DeJoy tried to darn him. And dadgummit, that hurt. So he jumped out of the chair and he went over to lay down on the bed, and dadgum if Susan Collins didn't poke him in the head. Frustrated, he decided that liberals had come in and bewitched his house, that the Democrats had invaded his house and bewitched it, and he had no other choice but to run away. But as he opened the door to go out, he woke Mitch McConnell, and the millstone fell on his head and flattened him like a pancake. This Rudy Giuliani must really have been a very wicked man. Now, the rest of these, they didn't care. They started drinking more of his liquor, eating more of his food. By the time they left, there wasn't anything left in there, which was okay, because Rudy Giuliani, flat as a pancake, didn't need anything. They all got up in the carriage. Donald Trump bragged about his mice on the right and the left, and about how good they were on both sides. And they all went back into town.